Growing up in the Montgomery household meant living in my sister Victoria's shadow. While I worked hard to earn everything I had, Victoria was handed life on a silver platter. Our father, James Montgomery, was the CEO of Montgomery Enterprises, one of the largest technology companies in the country. But he had an unusual approach to parenting, one that would eventually change everything. "Charlotte, why can't you be more like your sister?" my mother would sigh, watching Victoria glide through our mansion's marble halls in designer clothes. "She's already engaged to a senator's son. And what are you doing? Working at that tiny tech startup." What they didn't know was that the so-called tiny startup was actually a subsidiary of our father's biggest competitor. And I was far more than just an employee. But we'll get to that later. It all came to a head at Victoria's wedding, the social event of the season. 500 guests, a historic castle venue, and a dress that cost more than most people's yearly salary. I stood in front of my mirror, carefully wrapping a small gift box containing a simple gold necklace. The $50 price tag was still visible through the tissue paper, and I deliberately left it there. "Charlotte." Victoria's shrill voice echoed through the bridal suite. "You're late for the pre-wedding photos. And what are you wearing?" I smoothed down my simple blue dress, purchased off the rack at a department store. Unlike the other bridesmaids in their custom-made gowns, I had insisted on choosing my own attire. "You're embarrassing me," Victoria hissed, her perfectly made-up face twisting into a scowl. "First you refused to wear the proper bridesmaid dress, and now this? Dad's entire board of directors is here." If only she knew that I had regular meetings with most of those very board members. But that was my father's carefully guarded secret, one that had been in place for the past 5 years. The ceremony went exactly as planned, excessive, showy, dripping with wealth. I sat quietly in my assigned seat, notably separated from the rest of the family, watching Victoria marry Bradley Winchester, her ticket to even more social status. Then came the reception. And the moment that would change everything. "Time for gifts," Victoria announced, clapping her hands like an excited child. One by one, guests presented their lavish offerings: rare art, luxury cars, exotic vacation packages. When it was my turn, I stepped forward with my small box. The room fell silent. "What's this?" Victoria asked, her voice dripping with disdain. She opened it and the $50 price tag slipped to the floor. "A necklace? From a department store." She held it up for everyone to see and laughter rippled through the crowd. "Charlotte," my mother snapped sharply. "How could you? Your sister deserves better than this." Victoria dangled the necklace between two manicured fingers like it was contaminated. "Well, I guess this is what we can expect from someone who works at a failed startup. Tell me, Charlotte, how does it feel to be such a disappointment?" The room buzzed with tension, guests watching like it was a live reality show. That's when I noticed my father standing near the back, a slight smile on his lips. Next to him stood Marcus Chin, CEO of Chin Technologies, our family company's greatest rival. "Actually," Marcus's voice cut through the noise, "I believe I can shed some light on Charlotte's employment situation." Victoria rolled her eyes. "And what would you know about my sister's dead-end job?" Marcus stepped forward, commanding the room. "Charlotte isn't just an employee. She's the CEO and founder of Quantum Innovations, a company my firm acquired last month for $2.3 billion. The silence was deafening. "That's impossible," Victoria sputtered, paling. "She works at some tiny company. She lives in a small apartment. She shops at department stores." Marcus continued, his words deliberate. "Your sister built that tiny company from the ground up, developing revolutionary technology now worth billions. And she did it without ever using the Montgomery name or connections." I finally spoke, my voice steady. "This necklace is from the same store where you once told me I belonged, Victoria. Remember? 5 years ago, you saw me shopping there and told everyone at your country club I was an embarrassment to the family." The memory hung in the air like a heavy cloud. My father stepped forward, that knowing smile still on his face. "There's more," he announced, his voice carrying the weight of authority that had built our empire. "Charlotte's success wasn't just about business acumen, it was about character. 5 years ago I set up a test for both my daughters. Victoria was given every advantage: connections, resources, wealth. Charlotte was given nothing but a small starter fund, the same amount I began with 30 years ago. I wanted to see what each of you would do with your opportunities." The words thundered through the hall. Victoria's perfect wedding reception had become a public reckoning. "The succession of Montgomery Enterprises," Father continued, "has always been about more than bloodline. It's about vision, integrity, and the ability to build something meaningful." Bradley, Victoria's new husband, tugged at his bow tie, visibly uncomfortable. "I knew why he'd married her, partly for her presumed future role as CEO. But Daddy," Victoria whined, slipping into the petulant tone she used when things didn't go her way. "You always said the company would stay in the family. That's why you groomed me, why you made me attend all those board meetings." Father raised a hand, silencing her. "No, Victoria. I gave you opportunities to learn, to show initiative. Instead, you spent those meetings texting your friends and planning social events." Meanwhile, Charlotte attended those same meetings anonymously as the founder of a promising startup. She contributed insights, asked intelligent questions, and earned respect, without anyone knowing who she was. I watched the realization flicker across Victoria's face. All the time she mocked me for my clothes, dismissed me at gatherings, bragged about her future as CEO while I sat quietly, keeping my secret. "The necklace you're holding," I said softly, drawing every eye, "isn't just a $50 trinket. It's a reminder of who you really are, Victoria. 5 years ago, you made sure I'd never forget. And now neither would she. When you saw me shopping at that department store," I began, my voice steady, "you didn't just mock me. You told everyone I was adopted. Because, in your words, there was no way a real Montgomery would shop somewhere so common. You even posted photos online trying to shame me." Gasps rippled through the room. Mom pressed a hand to her mouth. She hadn't known. Victoria had carefully hidden her cruel moments from our parents. "That day," I continued, "I made a decision. I would succeed or fail, on my own merits, not because of the Montgomery name. I used the starter fund Dad gave us, the same amount he gave you, to found Quantum Innovations. You spent yours on a 3-month shopping spree in Paris." Victoria's hands trembled. The necklace slipped from her fingers and clattered to the floor. But I'm the oldest," she stammered. "I'm supposed to inherit everything. That's why Bradley." She froze too late. Her new husband's face hardened as he realized she'd just admitted she'd married him for status and presumed wealth. Father cleared his throat, his voice commanding the room. "It's time to announce the full succession plan for Montgomery Enterprises. As of next month, Charlotte will assume the position of CEO. Her merger with Chin Technologies has created the largest tech innovation company in the country. Victoria, you will retain your trust fund, but it will be managed by the board, to prevent further, excessive spending." The room erupted in chaos. Victoria's perfectly arranged wedding cake suddenly seemed insignificant. "You can't do this," she screamed, mascara running down her cheeks. "I'm the one who played by the rules. I married the right person, I maintained our social status, You focused on appearances," Father interrupted, his voice sharp. "Charlotte focused on substance. She proved something I've always believed. True success comes from hard work, integrity, and vision, not a last name." Bradley finally stood, stiff and cold. "I think," he said, "we need to discuss the terms of our prenuptial agreement, specifically the clauses regarding misrepresentation of assets." Victoria's perfect wedding unraveled faster than the seams of her designer dress. Guests whispered, fingers flying over phones, already spreading the news through elite social circles. Her carefully curated image as the golden child of the Montgomery Empire was collapsing before her eyes. Mom's voice trembled. "James, surely we can keep this private? Handle it within the family." Father's tone was stern. "Like you kept it private when Victoria bullied her sister? When she spread rumors that Charlotte was adopted? When she sabotaged every accomplishment that didn't fit her narrative of superiority?" The crowd shifted uneasily. Then Victoria did something I never expected. She laughed, a harsh, bitter sound that silenced the room. "You think you're so clever, don't you, Charlotte? Playing the poor, hard-working underdog while secretly being a billionaire CEO. Well, congratulations. You've ruined my wedding day. I hope you're happy." I bent down, picked up the necklace and held it in my palm. "I'm not happy, Victoria. I'm sad that you never understood what really matters. This necklace represents the moment you showed your true character. And now everyone else sees it too." The fallout was swift. Bradley's family huddled with lawyers in one corner. Victoria's high society friends drifted away, already distancing themselves from her collapsing empire. Mom sat alone, finally forced to confront the truth about her favorite daughter. Father approached me with Marcus' chin at his side. "You've exceeded every expectation," he said quietly. "Not just in business but in character. You could have exposed Victoria years ago. You could have flaunted your success. Instead you stayed humble, worked hard and proved yourself worthy, not just of running the company but of leading it into the future." Marcus nodded. The merger between Quantum Innovations, Chin Technologies and Montgomery Enterprises will revolutionize the industry. And it will be led by someone who understands both innovation and integrity. I glanced around the lavish venue, the flowers, the champagne, the designer gowns. None of it mattered. Victoria's perfect day had become a lesson in karma. A public revelation of the truth she'd tried so hard to bury. As guests departed, I set the $50 necklace on Victoria's table. "Consider it a reminder," I said softly. "True value isn't in the price tag, but in the character of the person wearing it." Montgomery Quantum Innovations is the leading tech company in the world. Victoria and Bradley divorced just 2 months after the wedding. She now lives off her managed trust fund, no longer welcome in the society circles she once dominated. Occasionally she tries to contact me, usually for money or favors. Each time my assistant sends her the same response: a photo of that $50 necklace. Mom eventually apologized for enabling Victoria's behavior. She's learning slowly that success isn't measured in social status or designer labels. Dad still chairs the board, proud that his test revealed the truth about both his daughters. Me. I still shop at department stores, live modestly and focus on innovation rather than attention. The only expensive thing I own hangs on my office wall. A frame holding that same $50 necklace. A reminder that character reveals itself not in moments of triumph, but in how we treat others when we think we're superior. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's proving that success and integrity aren't mutually exclusive. Victoria taught me that lesson, even if she never learned it herself.